Tacoma. Welcome back to your TV classroom. Today is Wednesday, so as always, we have a special guest with us today. But before we get started, as always, let's take a moment to check in with our zones. Think about what emotion you're feeling. What's happening in your brain, with your body. Mrs. Wally, what are you feeling?
I think I'm in the green zone today.
Yeah, you're ready to learn?
I'm ready to learn. I was not in the green zone this morning. I woke up really grumpy, but I came to work and I'm feeling better. So I'm in the green zone now.
Isn't it nice when our emotions can change and be more comfortable?
Yes, it is. Yep, I just had to take a different look at how my day was going.
Yeah, that's a good strategy.
It was great. And the sun was shining when I got to work. That really helped too.
Helps. Yeah.
How are you doing today?
I'm kind of in the blue zone today because Max, my son, was up in the night. He had a bad dream, and so it kind of woke me up, and then I had a hard time falling back asleep. So I'm feeling really tired and finding myself having to take a lot of deep breaths, and it's extra hard to focus.
Yes.
But I still have to do it because I still have to work, right?
So I remember a few weeks ago I was having that problem. Remember, I just couldn't get out of the blue zone, and we talked about sometimes you're just in a zone that doesn't feel good, and you have to do it anyway.
Do it anyway.
Because you have jobs to do, and we have to get them done.
Yep. Xavier, how are you feeling today?
I'm in the green.
You're ready to go? You good to go?
Ready to go, yeah.
Okay. Well, Tacoma, today is a really exciting special guest for us today is Xavier Cooper, a former professional athlete and activist, and he's a Tacoma native. He was born here. He went to school here. He graduated from high school here, and he's back to tell us all about what he's been doing since he went off to college at WSU, and some really exciting changes that are happening. Go Cougs! That are happening here in Tacoma. So, Xavier, take it away. We're happy to have you here.
Well, thank you for having me.
Thank you.
Hi, everyone. My name is Xavier Cooper. I'm blessed and thankful to be here in front of you all. Before I tell you a really unique story, I want to tell you a little bit about myself. I'm born and raised in Tacoma, Washington. I attended Geiger Elementary, Mason Middle School, and at the time, Woodrow Wilson High School. But now, myself and some local leaders in the community have made the change to the high school, and I want to tell you a little bit about that day and how it all started with the text message. I had just bought a sandwich from the Magical Sandwich Makers down the street, local. I'm sure you guys are all aware of MSN sandwiches.
MSN. Yummy.
And I was heading to my house. I needed to eat. You know, I'm 300 pounds, so if I don't eat, I'll turn into the Incredible Hulk, and then I'm gonna have to come get you guys. So when I sat down to eat my sandwich, I got a text message from the head high school football coach, Ahmad Robinson. And I've been knowing Coach Robinson for quite some time. He's a friend. And I knew when he texted me, it had to be something important. So I put the sandwich down and I texted him. He asked me how I was doing. And I said I was doing good. Knowing in my mind, I'm like, come on, Coach, I'm ready to get to this sandwich. And he texted me and asked me, did I know about Thomas Woodrow Wilson's racist past? And it kind of caught me off guard. I had never known that he was a racist. And he texted me back and said, you should do your research. So I put the sandwich down and proceeded to, research some information on Thomas Woodrow Wilson. And there's a lot of positive. He was our 28th president of the United States. That's a great accomplishment. A lot of people can't say they're, have been the president of the United States. I can't. And, he did a lot of things economically for us, which is great. And that's how we thrive as a country. But when I started to read up, there's a lot of negative things. He oppressed people of color. He was a known racist. He says some things publicly that, were, heard and felt that he was a known racist. And to me, it struck me because how could we name a school after someone who oppressed people, who hated people for the color of their skin? Because, maybe you were darker, maybe I was lighter, maybe, I was greener, you were oranger. It didn't matter. I think a leader, someone, if we're gonna name someone after a school in our public community, should be named after someone, who judged people off their character and their heart. Was their heart righteous? Were they good people? And I think if we strip, our skin and we strip the material things, our money, everything, we're just down to our blood and our heart, and that's really what defines us is our heart and who we are as a people. And so I took it upon myself to reach out to the principal of the high school, Bernadette Ray. And I've known Bernadette for some time. Bernadette's a phenomenal person, great leader in the community. Couldn't ask for a better high school principal. I wish she was there when I was, wish she was a principal when I attended the school. And I told her how I felt, and I asked her, to remove my jersey from the Hall of Fame. Now, I had worked my whole life to get to the National Football League and, have a team, print my name on the back of their jersey meant a lot to me and my family. And I no longer wanted my name to be associated with someone who was a known racist, being that I am a person of color. I am African-American, I'm biracial. My mother is Caucasian and my dad is black. So it meant a lot. I faced colorism my whole life and discrimination as well. So she told me to, calm down a little bit because I was a little bit anxious. I wanted this thing to happen right away, but that's just not how it was going to work. There were some steps we had to follow, and we proceeded to contact the Tacoma Public School District, and we had to go through we had to read through a policy. We had to meet with a committee. The committee was formed, and there were some phenomenal people on the committee, and we took our time. And so now, almost a year from when I had contacted Bernadette, I contacted her in April, and it's almost March. We had came to a decision, in the Tacoma Public Schools voted on a name change to name it to Dolores Silas High School, which I'm so grateful and thankful for, because Dolores has done some phenomenal things in the community. She's a black woman. She stands for, character, honesty, and integrity, and those are the things that we should promote in our communities, especially here in Tacoma. Tacoma is a blue-collar town, but we wear a trailblazing hat. So I think it was very, very, very good that we named it after a person of color and a woman. So that is the story, and I'm very thankful to be here. And I want to leave you guys with a message that it's very, very key that as you guys grow up and learn and observe the world, that you judge people for their character and their hearts, and nothing else, because the character and the hearts is gonna really I should say, judge. That's what you're going to judge of people's actions, because that's going to lead them to positive actions. So be a good person and have a good heart, and remember, character is bigger than image.
Can we look at some of your pictures and ask some questions about what it took to get you playing for the Cougs and then into the NFL?
Sure.
Okay.
Let's do that.
Ask some questions about childhood, and let me know what pictures you want me to bring
yeah,
up.
of course.
All right.
So you went to Geiger Elementary, and then Mason Middle School, and then Woodrow Wilson High School.
Yes.
And were you always an athlete as a child?
Yes and no. I was always a high energy child, and my mom would probably sit here and tell you both that I could never sit still. And I'm not a parent. I'm not a parent yet, but I have nieces, and I know that to manage children, they're very energetic. Mm-hmm. And so the easiest thing for my mom to do at that time was to get me in sports, and she got me into soccer. And
we have a picture of that, Mr. Kevin.
Yeah.
Can you show the picture of soccer? Nice.
How long did you play soccer for?
I played soccer from probably 6 to maybe 13.
Okay.
And soccer was my first sport. I loved it. I had dreams of, being this global, international soccer player. And I started, it's funny, I started to grow this way instead of this way. So, and then the soccer moms kind of got upset because I was, kind of pushing everybody around. I was an aggressive player, and I guess that had to do with my growth and just how big of a person I was gonna grow into. My dad is 6'6", so size does run in our family. And so from soccer, I moved to basketball, and I played AAU basketball for a while. I was on a 5th grade national championship team. We're the only team in, I believe, the history of Tacoma that brought a national championship back to the city.
Wow.
Yes, our team was Dynasty, and I'm hoping we can get a plaque in People's Center in Al Davies here soon. So that was great, and then after that I went on to high school, and then that's when I took on football.
In high school, you started playing football.
Yes.
So you didn't
yes.
grow up playing football. It was a transition from
Yes.
soccer to basketball to football.
Yeah, and actually I really didn't want anything to do with football because
Interesting.
football was super, from what I saw, it was a super aggressive sport, and I had a little edge about me. I was super energetic, but I just was nervous for it. There was a lot of contact that I wasn't ready for at that age, and so I share this with you all. Is my first time playing football was in 8th grade for a local youth team, Tacoma Panthers, and I barely played, but I remember being hit for my first couple of times, and I told my mom and dad, I don't think this is gonna work out for me. And so 9th grade, a lot of my friends going into high school were playing. Football was a big thing, and so I was like, well, I might as well, just keep doing it. And I wasn't really that talented at it. And I remember the last game of my freshman season, the coach at the time was John Harkness, rest his soul. He moved me to defensive end, and he told me, he was like, just go sack the quarterback. He was like, just run and sack the quarterback, and anything that's in the backfield, just disrupt it. I don't care what you do, just run and hit at anything. And from there, that's kind of where I began to be the player I am.
Cool
Or I
story.
was.
That is a good story. So what position did you play for the Cougars?
I played defensive end and defensive
Picture for that,
tackle.
Mr. Captain.
Oh, here's a picture. Now, Xavier, are you right there? Do you recall what you were saying to that player?
Yes, I do. It, I can't
You
tell
can't
you all of
repeat it
that, but Keith Price, I've known Keith Price for some time, and we're buddies in college, and we're just talking. He was a good player, one of the better quarterbacks I played against in college football. And we were just, just
Having
talking.
some words.
Talking. It's a rival. It's a big rival. So
That's a big game right there.
yeah, it's a big game. So
Is that from the Apple Cup? That
yes,
Yes.
yes.
Yeah, right.
So what happened after college?
After college, I left WSU early to enter the NFL draft. At that time, there's a lot of things going on in my life. People were telling me to stay in college, one more year. Really, my sophomore year, I had teams reaching out, agents reaching out saying, hey, you can go play professional football. But my mom and my dad were hesitant because they wanted me to get a degree. They felt like, it was kind of a dream that was, maybe not going to happen, especially, coming up from Tacoma, it's not a lot of kids that I saw that were making it, to the NFL. So my parents advised me to go back another year. But after that year, I pretty much had made my mind up. I said, no, I want to go chase this dream. I had played against the best players in the country in the Pac-12 conference. You know, I was playing at a high level, so I entered the NFL draft. 2015, got drafted to the 3rd round, 96 overall to the Cleveland Browns.
I think we have a picture of that.
We do.
Yeah.
Hey.
This is a really good picture.
This is actually a picture from my rookie year, and we came to Quest Field at the time. I don't think it was Century League. It might have been Quest Field, and we were playing the Seahawks. And I don't know how I caught Tyler Lockett because he's faster than me, and he's about probably 150 pounds lighter than me too. But I just ran him down and caught him from behind. But it was real. It was a great experience playing in front of the hometown crowd. It was really just such a blessed moment for me and my family to knowing that I can't grow up, playing in Tacoma, went to the state college, and then we're playing at Seahawks Stadium. It was a crazy moment. So
I bet some of the 12th men out there were probably cheering for you as well, right? Being local.
Yeah, I didn't hear any boos. Any play I made, I heard claps. So I was like, oh, this is a good feeling.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And my son is a Browns fan and a Green Bay fan. More Green Bay than Browns, but he always teased me. He said, watch out. Cleveland's coming on.
Yeah.
How long did you play for Cleveland?
I played for Cleveland for 2 years. Then I went on to play for the San Francisco 49ers for a year and the Jets for a year. And then I decided this picture was taken in 2017, was tackling Melvin Gordon, who plays for the Denver Broncos now. And it's pretty funny because me and Melvin, we trained getting ready for the combine together. He was a part of the training group who I trained with down in San Diego. So he's a great player. In 2019, I decided to retire and hang it up. I had enough of beating my body up, and the NFL is a lot. It's a great opportunity. If I could, share this with anybody is, if you have an opportunity to go play, you should go play and experience it. But you should also have a plan B, a plan C, and plan D. You should always be planning for the future because sports, you never know when it's going to end, whether injury or, mentally you're just over it. It's a lot to deal with, it's a lot to manage at that profession. So I decided to, come back home and be more active in the community.
We thank you for that.
Yes, I'm very grateful for that.
You have activist in your title. What are you passionate about? What are you working on?
I'm really passionate about the youth.
Yeah.
As I was sharing with you earlier, there wasn't a lot of celebrities or a lot of entertainers or athletes around in Tacoma when I was growing up. The only athlete I looked up to was Marcus Trufant. And Marcus was around, but he also was in Seattle. And so I wanted to come back into the city and be approachable and show my face and let, the youth know that I'm no different than you. I'm just here. No amount of status or money or fame or any of that changes who I am. I'm from Tacoma, Washington. I'm always stand by that. And I just wanted to, work with the kids. I wanted them to come and talk to me, be a mentor. So I've opened up a scholarship currently with the Greater Tacoma Community Foundation. It's a scholarship, and we focus on providing financial assistance to youth with learning disabilities. I had a learning disability myself, so I'm very passionate about that. And I want to encourage students who have a learning disability that it's not a disadvantage, it's an advantage. Because we all learn differently. We all were created differently, and you have to learn your best learning style. But once you master your learning style, you'll realize, how more productive you can be. And for me, I learn best by hands-on. So I have to be more hands-on. I like to walk through things, write things down. I work on the board a lot. That's my learning style. But everybody could be a visual or a learner. I mean, listening.
Yep.
So, yeah.
It's amazing.
That is, yeah. Well, thank you so much for taking the time to come back to our community and to come visit us here at our TV classroom.
Thank you for having me.
Grateful for all of the work that you do, but also that you're back here with us in Tacoma. So students see you out in the grocery store, they can say hi and
Yeah, come talk to me.
give you a
Let's
fist
talk
bump or an
let's
air
talk
high
about
five.
some ideas.
All right, wonderful, awesome. Well, Tacoma, thank you so much for being here. Mr. Kevin.
Yes, I just had a quick question.
Yeah.
Miss Wally, is there a picture in there, in that stack of pictures of Xavier that, something that's kind of fun that we can end with?
There's a plane picture in there. Can you tell us about that one?
Oh,
Yeah?
yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
Let me
Tell us
pull that
about
one
this.
up.
Yeah.
That's a cool shot. Okay,
Yeah,
what's going on here?
Well, me and my business partners, we had took a trip out of state, and that was my first time on a private jet. So I just got a picture of it, and I think I sent this to my father and my mother, and I just came a long way from just growing up in the inner city of Tacoma. I come from a blue collar family. My parents have always worked hard, and I've just accomplished a lot in my life, and I don't always capture all the things I do, but this one was just a big moment for me, just to know that I had been on a private jet. I would have never guessed that growing up. So
That's great.
So that's like a message for any kid in Tacoma.
Yes.
Right? You can do it.
yes,
You can do whatever you want. Isn't that right?
absolutely. If you have a dream, and you are willing to work hard, sacrifice, and be consistent, you can accomplish anything. And what I could tell you is just don't set your expectations so low. If you're gonna aim big, aim real big, aim for the stars, because time is all you're having. Time is all you have, and if you're gonna, spend your time on things, you should really spend some time on something that's really important. That's gonna have a huge impact and value for other people. And I talk about value all the time. And my message to the youth is that value the people that you're around, and add value to the people that you're around in any way. Service before self. I'm big on that. So. And that will help you be successful is what I'm saying.
So your folks raised you right, in other words.
I think so.
Yeah. That's so cool.
Friends, that reminds me of what we talk about every time we do our check-in with our zones. And Mr. Kevin asked me how I am, and I asked Mr. Kevin how he is. And we encourage you to ask the people around you, not just tell them how you are, but make sure you ask them how they are to see how they're doing. And that's the same kind of message, that you have to put other people in front and make sure you're caring for the people around you as well as yourself. So we're practicing that already here in the TV classroom.
Thank you for that connection, Mrs. Wally.
Yes.
That was brilliant. All right.
All right.
I think I have a really good affirmation
Okay,
for us
I'm excited
today.
to hear it.
I can add value. I can add value to my community. I can add value to my family. I can add value to myself. So today our affirmation, friends, is I can add value. Practice saying that out loud with me.
I can add value.
Excellent job today. Thank you so much for being here with us today in our TV classroom. We look forward to seeing you back here next time. Bye, friends. Bye.
I'm Denise Dillenbeck, concertmaster of the Northwest Sinfonietta, and I'm here to share a moment of music and breath with you today. Let's take a moment to get centered together before we listen to music. Put one hand on your heart and the other on your belly. Now, breathe in for 4 counts. 1, 2, 3, 4. Now hold your breath at the top for 4 counts. 1, 2, 3, 4. Now exhale. 1, 2, 3, 4. Let's do that together one more time. Feel free to close your eyes if you'd like. Inhale. Hold. Exhale. We are living through turbulent times. If you sometimes feel the sadness during all the challenges of this school year, you are not alone. When I'm sad, I turn to music to give my heart a lift. This piece by J.S. Bach is one of the happiest pieces I know. I first heard it on Sesame Street when I was a little girl, and it made me want to play the violin. It's called Gavotte on Rondo, and it's a dance music from Bach's time. If I were to think of words to describe how this music makes me feel, I would say jaunty and joyous. Now you try to think of a word that describes the feeling of the music while I play it for you. If you have room around you, you can also try making your own dance to this music. See what feels right to you.
Hi, welcome to Art with Miss Teresa. So today we're going to be doing Japanese anime. And so you're going to need paper. It could either be graph paper like this, or it could be a sheet of white paper, at least one pencil, a marker, some crayons, and if you want watercolor, that's cool too. Okay, so what we're going to do, well, first I wanted to address the fact that I cut my hair this weekend. And so some of my previous videos, I have really long locks, and I donated my hair to somebody to make a wig so that they can, because they can't grow hair anymore. So
that is so neat.
Yeah, it was a feel-good thing to do. And now we're gonna get to drawing. Okay, so Japanese animation style is the big word that turns into the little word. So anime comes from the word animation. And Japanese style, you'll see it in manga, which are these books, which I find a lot of fun to read. You'll see it on TV. And then you might see it in print material or drawing books. So I think it's really neat when you have something in front of you that you can practice drawing, and you can look at it as many times as you want to. There's no rule saying that, you know, you have to memorize it inside your head and draw from there. But it's kind of neat to try different things. And certain parts of drawing are kind of harder than others, like hands, what to do with your hands. So it's nice when you have examples of where people have different body parts. And so these are some of the examples that I brought from home. So we're going to start with the face. And I'm not drawing any particular character. We're just gonna kind of make somebody up. But if you have a favorite Pokemon or a show that you're currently watching online or on TV, that's really cool too. So we're going to start with a basic circle, just like we did for our faces, our realistic faces. And one of the biggest difference between realistic faces and anime is that the proportions are a lot different. So we have normal sized necks for realistic photos, but in the cartoons, they have really thin necks and really thin body parts. And so they're not as long or as short as they're supposed to be, but that's okay because that means that they're stylized. Okay, so although your eyeballs are only about this big in real life, in the shows, they might be this large. So our proportions are going to be a little bit different. And their noses are often just kind of a line or a dot. And so we're going to do front view. And if we're doing side view, they're going to be a little bit longer than they should be. It almost looks like Pinocchio. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use a pencil. And I hope you guys can see this nice and clear. But I'm going to draw over it with pen, and then I will erase the pencil lines.
Miss Teresa, I can zoom in a little if that
Okay.
would,
Yeah,
would
that'd
that
be
be
great.
good? Okay.
Awesome sauce. Thank you so much. Okay. So the first thing that I'm going to do is make a nose. And a lot of times you'll either have something that looks like this, or kind of a partial triangle to one side or the other, and then a dot. And that's what a lot of noses look like. So that's what we're going to do. So, and if you mess up, don't worry about it. Just keep on practicing. All right, so eyes are really big. And the reason why they're big is so that they're supposed to look cute. Remember, we have the circle, and the closest thing to a circle is what's cute? All right, but just like a normal eyeball, you're going to need an iris and a pupil. So the pupils tend to be really large. So here is my pupil, and the iris has just kind of a little bit of shading because the rest of it's going to be colored. And before they started doing all the animation on computers, they used to draw each and every segment. So anytime there was a motion, that's a whole nother piece of art. And that art had 2 layers to it. So you had the character up front, and then you had the background. So there were people Well, their entire job's to do background art. So they would be doing the school or the baseball field or the forest or the river or wherever your character is set in. And then another artist would come and put another layer on, and they would do all the movement of them. And I actually have quite a few of those at home, so maybe one day I'll bring those in to show you guys. Okay, so most people have eyelashes, so we're gonna give our character some eyelashes. And then I'm going to draw just a little bit of a line to show you that there's a bottom of a line here. And then we have the eye fold. And eyebrows tend to be all over the place. So we're going to kind of make a thin eyebrow. And then you need a matching eye over on the side. I like graph paper because it shows you exactly how far apart things are. And I've been watching cartoons my entire life. And when I lived in Asia, it was the normal thing on TV. And there's a lot of things that you see on TV that are actually from Japan, but they might be drawn in Korea or colored. So there's a lot of people that are working on projects or from other countries. And there are conventions where people go to celebrate this kind of art. And we actually have one here in Washington. And it brings in 26,000 people to the Washington State Convention Center. Can you imagine that? That is so many people. But they share their likes and interests, and I think that's really, really neat. And so we need another eyebrow.
Do you go to the convention, Miss Teresa?
I do. I'm actually one of the people that volunteer, so I give my time to help organize it so that people have a really good time at the convention, that they're safe, and that there's a lot of programming for them. And my job this year is the exhibits hall, which means that people who are selling things like plushies from shows that you might see, or video games, or keychains, or costumes, or wigs, they're going to be there to sell. But this year, they're going to postpone it until next year. So it should be a lot of fun. But I've been doing it for 20 years now. Yeah. Okay. So my person here has a nose and eyeballs. So the character hair can look pretty interesting, but most times there's some kind of bangs. And so bangs are hair that go from here to down here, and mine are over here now. So I'm going to draw. My character is going to have bangs, and it's going to overlap some of their eyes. And then there's going to be all sorts of cool layers. Now, do you see that I'm kind of going beyond my circle? And that's okay, because your hair isn't stuck to your head. One of the things I like about anime is that there's so many different kinds of styles and characters. Okay. So I'm going to have my person have their hands up here, like to their mouth. And we're going to do as if they're in the snow. And we're gonna make those mittens again, just like we did on the other video. And to show blushing, we're going to make little lines across their cheeks. And I'm gonna have a little cuff on my mitten. And I'm gonna give her 2 hands, so they're gonna overlap. She has some side hair. And I'm kind of doing it similar to the card captor character. And yeah, she's actually one of my favorites. So, and not all animes are designed for kids. And so sometimes they have very grown-up storylines. So it's always good to watch your shows with your big people first so that they say yes or no if it's okay for you to watch. Okay, so my person here, so the faces tend to be a little bit on the shorter side. So your face isn't going to be like all the way long hair. It's going to be almost like it was for like the baby proportions. And most kids are drawn like that. So I'm gonna give her long hair. And it could be messy, and that's completely okay. So I'm gonna give my person a scarf. And so I'm gonna do this kind of out of my head, but it is completely okay to look at a picture and try to draw that picture. And if you make mistakes, that's okay. Just keep on drawing. I've been drawing for a very, very, very long time. And so since she has so much hair, you're not really gonna see her ears. But okay, and I'm gonna have her have shoulders, and here's where her elbow is, and here's some more shoulders. And again, this isn't anybody in particular. I'm just taking some aspects of something that you might see in a manga or on TV and coming up with a drawing. And since it's going to be really cold outside, I think that we should give her some earmuffs. What do you think? Have you ever been outside without earmuffs? And if you don't have earmuffs, earmuffs are kind of fuzzy balls on a headband that keep your ears really warm. And so I'm gonna have them stick out here. And the way that I'm gonna tell that they're different than her hair is I'm gonna go ahead and give them a color. So we're gonna go pink or red. Okay, and I am going to let her have brown hair because I have mostly brown hair. And they've got these really cool things called Copic markers, and they're almost like watercolors, because like when you color with a regular marker, sometimes you'll see the lines of where it started to dry. But with Copic markers, it blends in the way that watercolors do. And I think that they're pretty neat. And sometimes you can get them at the art store or the arts and crafts store, or you can order them online. I get flesh tones, which means that I get people skin color in all sorts of shades, so that if I'm drawing at home, that my characters can look like any way I want them to. And then you don't see the streaks. And again, those are Copic markers. There's other brands. They're just the ones that I kind of like. And I would love, love, love to see your drawings. So if you can have somebody take a picture and email it to us to this email, that would be fantastic. Or if you want to send it to us to our physical location, that would be awesome too. And I would be more than happy to share your drawings on our little program. Okay. So I'm going to make my person kind of look like me. Oh, another thing that you'll see in animes is that you don't have to have realistic hair color. Like your character can have blue hair, they can have green hair, purple hair. You can have eye colors that aren't what you normally see in people. And I just think it's cool. Or sometimes your character will have cat ears. Or sometimes your character will have really big muscles, like really super large, and they're not realistic drawings, but they're fantasy drawings, which means that you can have your character have a tail if you want to, or your character can be 11 feet tall, or your character could be a talking animal. It's all up to your imagination, and that's one of the reasons why I really love this art style. And I like the shows that are kind of what is called slice of life. So you'll see kids dealing with things in their life and hanging out with their friends at school and after school, and sometimes they deal with their emotions or problems that they're having. And it's fun to watch them go on their journey, and sometimes you can feel what it's like to go through the things that they go through. And so I like that a lot, and I think that it's kind of neat to really get into a story. It's kind of like reading a book, but you get to watch it happen. And sometimes the story does not match the manga. So when this happens, it's because there's different writers and artists that are working on one project, and then the original artist and writer is working on another project. So sometimes they overlap and their stories verge into two different directions. And so it's kind of neat to compare how the book is different. And that's actually true for movies too, because you'll have what happens in the book, and then what happens in a movie might be completely different. Okay, and so since it's cold outside, I'm going to make my character here have really pink cheeks. And I think I'm going to give her an unrealistic eye color, so we're going to go purple. Although there are some people that have gray irises, because it's a mutation of brown, and it looks pretty neat. Okay, so one of the things that you can do is shading. So if the light is coming from one direction, you'll see that, like if you look in the mirror, you'll see that a part of your face might be slightly darker than the other. So I'm going to have kind of the edges on this side a little bit darker. But I'm going to go all over so that we know where the light is coming from. And so oftentimes you'll also see these weird lines across hair, and it's kind of light, and it's also texture. So I'm going to give my character a little bit of that. So
makes it look shiny.
It does make it look shiny. And So my character is pretty much done. I'm going to give her buttons so that you can tell that she's wearing a coat. And then I'm going to make the coat go out because it's kind of cute. And we're gonna make it snow a little bit. So if you wanna make snowflakes, just like we did in those other videos, that would be kind of cool too. You can make circles, or you can make what kind of looks like a star. It's a shiny. And here's my drawing for the day. So thank you so much for joining us today. And I would really, really like to see your art. And I hope to see you next time. Bye.
Hey kids, we want to see your work. Just send your pictures and your stories to TV Classroom, 601 South 8th Street, Tacoma, Washington, 98405.